We're going to be down 35% this week, which means fewer job opportunities for dock workers, truckers, and warehouse folks. Retailers, big and small, have been telling me that we've got about 4, 5, 6 weeks left of normal inventory levels.
Last Friday, we only had 8 ships in port compared to 10 or 12 that would normally be the case.
Thousands of union dock workers across the country are striking for the first time in nearly 50 years.
While port directors warn of labor shortages and incoming chaos, whispers are spreading through the shipping world, and they're getting louder. According to multiple unverified but persistent reports, some of America's biggest retailers, Walmart, Target, and Home Depot, are quietly negotiating behind closed doors, working directly with federal trade officials and port authorities to secure exclusive access to cranes, terminals, and customs fast lanes. These claims haven't been officially confirmed, but freight brokers, shipping agents, and even mid-level port managers describe unusual patterns. Last-minute crane reservations getting cleared for preferred accounts, priority offloading schedules quietly reshuffled, and pressure from Washington to keep high-volume lanes open. It may sound like rumor, but the implications are hard to ignore. If true, this would mean a two-tiered logistics system is already forming, one where mega retailers get their goods through while everyone else waits in line. Small importers? They're already reporting delays, penalties, and lost inventory. And it's not hard to imagine why these companies would move now. With a 90-day tariff reprieve ticking down and thousands of containers barreling toward U.S. shores, those who control the ports will control the shelves. Those left behind? They'll face stockouts, canceled shipments, and financial losses they can't absorb. So, the question isn't just whether America's supply chain is breaking. It's whether it's being quietly taken over before the public even realizes it. While most Americans brace for impact, some of the biggest names in retail may have already outmaneuvered the chaos. According to logistics insiders, companies like Walmart, Target, and Home Depot are reportedly negotiating behind closed doors to secure early port access, bypass long queues, and reserve crane time weeks in advance. These claims haven't been officially verified, but multiple freight brokers and port contractors have noted a surge in priority bookings linked to large volume accounts. And it's not just paperwork. In places like the Port of Savannah and Houston, staffing schedules and unloading priorities are quietly shifting. Smaller importers are seeing their container appointments delayed or rescheduled, while mega retailers' goods continue to flow. One shipping agent described it bluntly: if you're not on the Fortune 100 list right now, good luck getting a berth. The consequences are already visible. While small to mid-sized brands scramble to understand port schedules and rising fees, large chains appear to be stabilizing select inventory categories, especially in electronics, tools, and seasonal goods. Sources suggest this isn't about favoritism, but leverage. Volume buys influence. In a system under stress, size matters more than ever. The unspoken reality? The U.S. supply chain isn't just cracking under tariffs. It's beginning to fragment, split between those who can pull strings and those who can't. And this is only the beginning. The ripple effects of this corporate prioritization are being felt far beyond the ports. Across the West Coast, hundreds of longshore workers remain on standby, clocking in only to be told no cranes are available, no containers to unload. In Seattle alone, port labor is still operating at just 60% of normal staffing levels, even as incoming vessel traffic ramps up. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, truckers are reporting wait times up to 14 hours, with no pay for time spent idling. And the financial toll is spreading. With container access skewed toward high-volume retailers, small importers are being priced out. Demurrage fees, penalties for containers left at port, have jumped by as much as 80% in the past 2 weeks, draining the margins of local businesses that rely on predictable delivery. One small toy distributor in Ohio shared they've already canceled 3 entire shipments, unable to afford the delays and penalties. Industry estimates suggest over 10,000 containers are currently stalled across U.S. ports, stuck in limbo between customs bottlenecks, labor shortages, and scrambled terminal schedules. The shelves are feeling it too. Prices for home improvement tools at Home Depot have quietly edged up. Target stores are beginning to limit availability on select school supplies. Even Dollar General, built on tight pricing, has hiked costs on everyday goods like batteries, paper products, and household cleaners. This isn't random inflation. It's logistical inequality, triggered by disruption and amplified by desperation. And for the average consumer, the storm hasn't even fully hit. Because the bulk of cargo ordered during the 90-day tariff reprieve is still at sea, and when it lands, ports already running behind will be overwhelmed. The question is no longer if the system will crack, but how deep and how soon. To understand why America's ports are breaking, we have to look beyond tariffs. The truth is, this crisis didn't start with Trump's 145% import duty. It started with a logistics system optimized for profit, but not for resilience. For decades, U.S. supply chains have run on just-in-time delivery, minimizing inventory, shaving down costs, and betting that nothing would disrupt the flow. That gamble is collapsing in real time. Unlike countries like China or Germany, which maintain national logistics buffers and emergency freight plans, the U.S. has no central supply chain command. Each port operates independently. No federal coordination. No playbook for rerouting or surge absorption. So when tariffs spike or shipping lanes freeze, chaos multiplies fast. And this isn't the first time we've seen it. Back in 1971, a dockworkers' strike on the West Coast froze port activity for 4 weeks. But then the cause was labor. Today it's policy uncertainty. One day, tariffs slam the door shut. The next, a 90-day reprieve opens the floodgates with no time for ports to scale up. The result? A system caught between extremes. What makes this moment more dangerous is its unpredictability. Supply chains thrive on rhythm, scheduled arrivals, reliable unloading, smooth handoffs. But in today's political environment, rules change overnight. Businesses can't plan. Workers can't rely on schedules. Equipment sits idle not because demand is gone, but because no one knows what to expect. This isn't just a logistics problem. It's a failure of national strategy. And the longer it goes unchecked, the more it invites global players to rewrite the rules without us. While the U.S. struggles to steady its own ports, its closest allies and fiercest rivals are already pivoting. Canada, long one of America's most stable trade partners, has quietly redirected over 20% of its West Coast exports toward European markets, citing unpredictability in U.S. customs and congestion. The Port of Vancouver is now running extended hours to accommodate rerouted traffic that once flowed freely through Seattle and Los Angeles. Mexico is going a step further. In a bold announcement last week, Mexican officials unveiled plans for a $2.1 billion dry port initiative in Guanajuato. The aim? Create an inland logistics hub that bypasses U.S. coastal choke points altogether, streamlining trade from Asia through Pacific Mexican ports directly into Latin American and European markets. The message is clear. If the U.S. can't handle the flow, others will. Even China is adjusting tactics. Instead of routing container vessels through the traditional Pacific to L.A. pipeline, Chinese shipping firms are experimenting with Panama Canal pathways and South American drop points, distributing cargo to alternate global buyers. Some of these vessels may never circle back to the U.S., especially if another tariff shock hits. And then there's the silent response from Asia. In what some industry experts call logistical distancing, ASEAN nations have reportedly delayed container leasing agreements with U.S.-based buyers, citing instability and volatile costs. America's trading partners aren't just watching this collapse. They're adapting to it. And as they reposition, they're building new trade corridors, without the U.S. at the center. This isn't just a detour. It's the start of a rerouting that could outlast the crisis itself. This isn't just a temporary bottleneck. It's the slow-motion fracturing of a national logistics system, and the consequences could last for years. Insiders now warn of a growing trend, the rise of shadow supply chains. These are informal, often privately negotiated networks where major retailers, those with deep pockets and political clout, secure port space, trucking contracts, and customs clearance through exclusive relationships, bypassing the traditional system entirely. Retail giants like Walmart and Target aren't just importing goods. They're buying speed, certainty, and priority, while small and mid-sized businesses are left behind, caught in red tape and delays they can't afford to absorb. Even more alarming is the rise of ghost inventory, containers that arrive at port but sit idle, stuck between unavailable labor and overloaded customs checkpoints. Some retailers are now offshoring inventory holding, parking goods in Canada, Mexico, or even on floating cargo ships offshore, waiting for favorable tariff windows before entering the U.S. This isn't strategic trade, it's survival logistics. Over time, this reactive system favors only the largest players, those with the capital to hedge, the power to negotiate, and the leverage to bend schedules in their favor. Everyone else? They're forced to gamble. And the more fragmented the supply chain becomes, the harder it will be to rebuild a unified infrastructure. Because once logistics becomes a game of connections instead of coordination, trust collapses, transparency disappears, and chaos becomes the new operating model. America's ports may be reopening, but the system they feed is quietly breaking into pieces. What began as a tariff policy has triggered something far more dangerous: the erosion of predictability in America's supply chain. When shipping becomes a gamble and planning becomes impossible, the consequences ripple far beyond delayed containers. Trust collapses, prices climb, and the gap between corporate giants and everyone else quietly widens. This isn't just about Walmart, Target, or Home Depot moving faster. It's about the thousands of small businesses, warehouse workers, and truckers who now operate in the dark, uncertain of schedules, squeezed by costs, and forced to react to policy swings they can't control. And here's the chilling part: there's no clear way back. If another tariff spike lands in August, mid-shipment for thousands of containers, what happens to those bets already placed? How many more businesses will fold under the weight of chaos they didn't create? America's supply chain was once a model of coordination. Today, it's a fragmented battlefield of reaction and desperation. So, ask yourself this. In a system now driven by political timing instead of logistics, who survives the next shock? And who gets shut out for good? If you've noticed empty shelves, price hikes, or shipping delays in your area, drop a comment below. Your story is part of this bigger picture. Don't forget to subscribe for more investigations as this crisis unfolds. This is just the beginning.